what is up, Design Squad? Welcome back. You know, there are some books which I always keep on my coffee table, which I tend to reread every now and then, usually it's every year or so. And those books are usually very simple because the simplest things are usually the easiest to implement. Specifically, I have this one, Show Your Work. It's by Steal Like an Artist author Austin Kleon, who's a genius. What Seth Godin is for marketers, Austin Kleon is for creative folk and designers, if you ask me. And so, what's so good about this book? Well, I think it's essential for you to pick up to discover on your own, but it highlights tip number one when it comes to UX career progression. And it's about sharing and showing your work. It's super essential. It doesn't matter if you're a junior person or a senior or a lead or a head of. Evangelism, presentation, showcase of your work is highly important. It comes with the simplest of artifacts like, let's say, UX portfolios, which you cannot get a job without. That's a given, you know that already. But it's also everything else to do with, let's say, the process, the supportive material, the peripherals which make up to your brand, to your capability as a designer. And a lot of designers are going to be against it, I know that for sure, but I think we as makers, as problem solvers, need to show how the sausage is made and not just a final product of, a sausage packet, for lack of a better term. And Show Your Work book is really good because it gives you a primer of how to do it. It has 10 principles. I'm not gonna cover them in depth, but they're as simple as you don't have to be a genius. Think process, not product. Share something small every day. Open up your cabinet of curiosities. Tell good stories. Teach what you know. Don't turn into human spam. Learn to take a punch. Sell out. Stick around. It's almost like a cycle of different things you could do immediately as a UX designer, and you should. The issue with typical sharing of your work, let's say UX portfolio and case studies, are that it's usually when it's done and dusted you share your work, and it's usually in such a rare intervals that it doesn't allow you to get feedback from, let's say, the community, the outside. It doesn't allow you to accelerate your career because you're not sharing it often enough. And so if you can share, for example, something every day, which is like, hey, if you share something just one small bit, it could be an Instagram photo of you and post-it notes and your team problem solving or doing user research. Thing I do, let's say, with my team, if there's something interesting to share and it's not infringing upon, let's say, the NDA material, you could just take a snap pic. It could be minimal, it could be quite abstract, but it's something you would share every day. And you can imagine if I do that for 30 days, in the end of a month, I have 30 different snapshots which I can embed into my portfolio. And portfolio might have UX case studies which I might update every few months, every year per se. Maybe it's before I look for jobs. I would encourage you to just keep on updating before you need it, as my previous videos. But you can imagine if I update something which I actually keep on doing, adding extras, like my Instagram posts, maybe add Twitter feed, with my tweets, my thoughts. Maybe it's also a blog post, maybe videos like that's exactly what I'm doing now. I'm talking just to a camera. Sharing my work, sharing how the sausage is made, giving back to the community is gonna boost your own career. Even, let's say, people who do dribble conceptual work, they're practicing their UI skills. They get feedback, they improve upon that. It's beneficial not just for them, but the community like myself. If I need some inspiration, I would go to Dribbble and look for, let's say, dashboard design or UX portfolio design, and just see exactly, some new patterns, some new trends, neomorphic design, maybe it's more flatter design, something like that, taking some screenshots, maybe using that in ideations with my client, just showcasing what's possible, things of that nature to gauge what we are after. It benefits everyone. That sharing is not just for yourself, it's for everyone else, and universe usually returns that value. Everything goes in a cycle. And careers is the same in UX or any other field. Let's say when I was a junior, I know I had massive imposter syndrome, thinking that what you have is not worthy enough, thinking that it's not proper UX, thinking that your design is not pretty enough, which I had to overcome by just simply doing it. If you expose yourself and you force yourself to do it, eventually you're going to desensitize that feeling of imposter syndrome, and you can just do it whatever you wish. Because the criticism is just going to fuel you, empower you to keep on doing, to share your work continuously. That's why sharing consistently is so important. If after a year you're going to apply for another job and you use the old case studies, it's just going to showcase that you are not progressive enough or you haven't improved. which is the case of my portfolio. If you look at my portfolio, there is a lot of garbage in it. I have only a few cases, most of them are self-directed or something I can use outside of the NDA. I cannot put anything recent because it's either my team who I managed and led, UX division who produced it, or I just cannot show more than, let's say, a few mock-ups, a few personas, how the sausage is made, the process, the strategy, the tactics you employed. Sharing bits of that nature are much more important, especially evangelism. Like, let's say, me producing this video acts like a support for my portfolio because I'm sharing experience not just with, let's say, my teammates. And trust me, this message of sharing your work is something I share with my teammates, my appraisees, people I directly manage. My direct reports know it. They know what's important because I'm sharing with them. But I'm sharing with you as well, publicly. The point of this video is, this type of book, which you can read at any point, and I highly recommend you to read it, is a call to action for you to accelerate your career by giving a little bit more, by doing just slightly more. You don't have to go overboard. Point number 7, don't become human spam. You have a lot of LinkedIn characters right now, or even on Twitter, on Facebook, where they post total garbage. They post something which is unrelated. Some people respond to it, but it almost becomes like a bottom feeding exercise when you share, let's say, I don't know, a car picture, or you share something which people don't care about necessarily, but you're just showing off, quote unquote flexing, let's say, and all that other trendy garbage, which is like, some people are gonna respond because it's glamorous, but it's not what it really is. For example, for you to represent what design really is and how you experience design things, how you solve issues for user experience, you need to show how the sausage is made. For example, showing the persona on your portfolio itself is useless because it's just an artifact. But what's important about it, that showcases that you took the research from, let's say, your quantitative insight to your qualitative interview insight. You put it into a sheet which is prototypical user, which you are targeting, which you're marketing, which your business is targeting. You know that this is what your users respond to. It showcases the process. But now imagine if you also could share how you came up with it. Maybe you share some themes, maybe some highlights, what you see behind me, showcasing a photo of that. It's not the best example because that's just a Kanban board in a corner where I have wireframes as well, which is hand sketches. Showcasing that is showcasing that you actually giving a thought and you are not just showcasing deliverables. And the strongest portfolios are the ones which have visuals which support the story for that specific problem solved. You don't have to come up with bullshit. You don't have to go that route where you flex, where you share that LinkedIn garbage which just makes your eyes roll and is just a cringe fest. You don't have to do that. You can just add your few notes. That's all it takes. So if you don't have an account on Twitter, if you don't have an account on Instagram, if you don't have a blog, maybe a YouTube channel, maybe something else, create one, create a newsletter, something which is one thing extra. And it comes down to my 10 challenges for UX and product designers, which is a video I created in January, I think, or February this year. It depends when you watch this. But one of the challenges was to do something extra, to do one thing extra, one channel, one newsletter, one social media account where you share your thoughts and you connect with other people, you have handy discussions, and you contribute to a bigger pool of knowledge. You give back and you get something in return indirectly. And so if you like this video, give a like, subscribe to this channel, share your work down below or somewhere else. It doesn't matter, as long as you keep on sharing, evangelizing what you do and what UX is for you. That's the most important bit. And on that note, I'll see you next time.